And get started. Good morning, everyone. My name is Terry Begley, and I am the technology coordinator for the College of Business at Creighton. And we are now the Heider College of Business. And give you a little bit about myself. My great uncle John Begley taught accounting at Creighton from 1924 to 1974. My dad went there, lots of other relatives, et cetera. Probably the most famous Begley that went to Creighton was my second cousin, Kaylee. And Kaylee was the Creighton dancer on the Sports Illustrated cover with Doug McDermott. She was the one on the left. I've been at Creighton now as an employee since, well, starting my 30th year in the College of Business. My job is really varied. I do a lot of computer support for faculty. I am the Blue Line administrator for the College of Business. Here at Creighton, we've broken down by different areas, and I can get into every College of Business class and assist faculty members with whatever issues they have, things like copying courses, merging sections, setting up quizzes, things like that. The picture on the slide there of me in the orange, I am an amateur radio operator as well. And this was the corporate cup run last year. I was stationed at the water station at UNO doing emergency communications for the race. So that's kind of fun too. I also teach a class in the BAA department, our BAA 253, our required computer class periodically. As well. So I get a chance to use Blue Line in that role as a faculty member. We have some long-term courses that we use Blue Line with as well. So as my dad's always said, I'm kind of a jack of all trades and a master of none, chief cook and bottle washer, I guess. What I wanted to do is just talk about all the resources that are available for faculty, staff, students to use Canvas. And I'll give some examples of things I've done and maybe a few best practices as well. I've posted in the chat a link to this set of Google Slides, and then I will go ahead and post that link a little bit later as well. So from the Three Amigos movies, we've got a plethora of resources available, some of which I use a lot, others which I hardly use at all. But I thought I'd give you a list. I've got 12 things that you can do that are available inside Instructure, inside of Canvas, that you can do and outside of it as well. The Canvas guides, there's a training services portal that you have to have a subscription for. The faculty guides, they have some resources for COVID-19. There's a ticket system within Instructure. There's a web chat feature, which I really enjoy, and I use that a lot. There's telephone support. Google is your friend. I think half my job sometimes is Googling. There is a Canvas statewide consortium for Nebraska. The Canvas 101 course that they have available. Local support options that I'll talk about that we have here at Creighton, and obviously that's school specific. And then probably one thing that I recommend for faculty that want to play around and explore is to get a Sandbox course from their local Canvas administrator. And I'll explain what that is and how I use it down the road here in a minute. So if you want to post something in the chat, I'll take a look and or raise your hand, and I'll try to answer, and then I'll have some time for questions at the end too. So the Canvas guides are the public documentation for their LMS and their related products. And if I go here to, let's see, to their Canvas guides, so they have, let's see, I think it stopped my screen sharing. I go back here. Okay. And Jordan, do you see my screen right now?
Yep, we can see your browser.
Okay, great. Okay, thanks. Yeah, so we've got the Canvas guys. You could just type in search terms. It links to all their products, download PDF manuals. There's all kinds of things, different languages, et cetera, that are available here. Something that you can do. I'm not even logged in to get to it. It's just community.canvaslms.com and go there. So if I just click on something, just random here, admin guide, instructor's guide. So, how are you getting started as well? Some faculty love analytics, others really don't care about them. How to use announcements, assignments. It just goes on and on with everything here is kind of a frequently asked question list. Go back here. Yeah, so this is just a little screen capture here. Just type something in, and they've expanded the view there, and then search. And so you got a list of, they've got over 800,000 members, over 300,000 posts. And at the time when I captured this the other day, there were 3,000 people online looking at them. So that's a great resource there that's available for you. There is a training services portal, and this is something I've never used. You have to be a part of this, and I apologize, I forgot to ask our Canvas administrator, Barb Stevens, if we even have part of this, but it is an option that Canvas uses a tool called Bridge. And so every organization that has Canvas, they have a customer service person assigned to them, and I would work with the Creighton person, Barb Stevens, to find out about that if we had that. So again, I'm not going to talk about this. It's something I haven't found a need for. There are faculty guides within Canvas as well, and I've just taken some screenshots here just to kind of give you an idea. A lot of this is kind of oriented toward people that are new to it. When we hire new faculty at Creighton, a lot of them are either coming from other schools. They're the more experienced faculty. Maybe they've used Blackboard or Desire to Learn, and they're new to Canvas, or they are new faculty members as well. This is their first full-time teaching job. They've been a TA at another school or in their PhD program, and now they have to get up to speed. And so this is a quick way to get on board with something. So they have, for example, a program for K-12, and it says it's a learning pathway. It's 4 courses and 6 steps. Higher education, 6 steps. One for administrators, setting up your higher education instance. More for the administrators on the side of Canvas as opposed to the faculty side. And then if you're interested in things like the new quizzes, which we've been beta testing it for a while, and I used it part of one semester for my BA 253, and I went back to the old quizzing. I'm not teaching this semester due to COVID and the remodel of our building. My time is being spent elsewhere. But I would be playing with the new quizzes, and there will be a new quizzes interest group today at the end of the presentation for an hour, and hopefully we'll get some people in that group that are using it, and we can kind of have an open forum about it. Okay. And things like if you want to watch a video on uploading using CSV files, how to do announcements. So if you're a faculty member that likes to read, you can look at those other ones. If you're more of a visual learner, here's a video on how to do announcements, things like that. I loved announcements when I teach. I use it as kind of a current events issue, because obviously teaching in the IT field, there's lots of things. Microsoft releases their quarterly results. Apple has a new product out today, rumors of this. And so I'm a big poster and announcements, sometimes a couple times a day. about, current event type stuff. And so I loved announcements in Canvas. They also have a couple links for their COVID-19 faculty resources, some things that they can do, and their commitment to support during COVID-19. And I'm sure at your institution, a lot like Creighton, it was a mad rush to get everybody online. At Creighton, any course that is in Banner has a Blue Line class created for it, but faculty members have the option to use it or not. And so when spring break happened, right when the COVID crisis was really hitting, the university made the decision to extend spring break a week and not have class, and then move everything totally online. And I tell you, it was a mad rush working with faculty members. Some faculty members had been using, we call it Blue Line. We labeled some things blue, obviously, because we're Creighton. So we call it Blue Line, but we were using Canvas, and some courses, faculty used it for everything. Other faculty members, I have a 75-year-old accounting faculty member that basically went in and put grades in, and that's all he did, because students kept asking, what's my grade on this quiz? He would just put the grades in there. So that's kind of the range, people that are using it daily for everything, faculty member barely using it at all, and getting all of those online. And so it was very challenging, a lot of fun, getting them done, and a lot of work, and I'm kind of glad that's over. At least now. We'll see what happens with classes starting at Creighton on August 17. So these two links are great that you can follow through and see some resources that Instructure can provide you for this time period. There's the classic option, file a support ticket. I'm sure your school has some kind of ticketing system for their IT department. Creighton uses Easy Vista, and I'll talk more about best practices for student ticketing a little bit later, but you can file a support ticket with Instructure. So just on the menu on the left side at the question, there's a click a ticket option, subject, description, then a drop-down box that says, how is this affecting you? And I love the options that you've got. Hey, just a casual suggestion. I need some help, but it's not urgent. Something's broken, but I can work around it. I can't do anything till I hear back from you. And red alert, Scotty, start the engines. We're falling into the black hole. So extreme critical emergency. So this is an option that you can file a ticket depending on the severity of your problem. So if you've got a suggestion, want to know something, but it's not urgent, you can file a ticket with them. I've done this a few times, and depending on the urgency is how quickly they'll get back to you. My favorite option, and the one I'll talk a little bit about here, is doing a web chat. And the reason for a web chat, one, is I have a little bit of a problem with hearing, upper frequencies, things like that, and some tinnitus. So talking to some people on the phone, yes, I'm that guy who uses the speakerphone in his office. I want to apologize to Professor Woodley and Professor Thomas, whose offices are right next to mine on that. So doing a chat, then you're obviously not talking with them. And what's really great is you can copy and paste URLs. So instead of typing in, oh, I'm with Creighton, this is my course, you just go in, highlight the address bar, paste it in the chat, and the support tech can go right to your class and take a look at it. Or you can say, here's my class, and then here's the page I'm having an issue with. Can you go in and take a look? And of course, you can multitask if while you're waiting for the chat person to answer. I've had chats answered almost immediately. And then during the COVID crisis, one time I had to wait almost an hour. And of course, that was prime time during the academic class day. And I was able to keep my support window open. I've got a multi-monitor setup. So I just had the chat request waiting in one window while I went on and did the rest of my job. And then you can get a transcript of the chat that you can save and forward on to people, whatever. An example of a web chat that I had as a faculty member asked me to go into his class and he had a suspicious quiz time for a student. And so I went in and looked at it and had some questions looking at the analytics. So what I did is I went into the chat and asked the question, pasted in the URLs, and the Canvas tech got back to me on it, and I forwarded that on to the faculty member. So students can do this as well with their end too, not just faculty. So I recommend that students do this, and students love to text. We all know that. So this way they can, it's like texting, so they don't have to talk to anybody. When you click on the live chat, if you haven't used it, it asks you for your name, email, subject, the severity, and then it opens up a chat window, and that's where I would paste in the URL and things like that. You can also call them. So there's a support hotline for students and a support hotline for faculty. And I called early on. We've been using Instructure now 7, going on 8 years, I believe. I prefer the web chat over talking on the phone. Google is your friend. In IT, sometimes it seems like we spend half our job Googling to get answers. And so when I tell faculty members if they wanted to look something up, Google, don't search for Canvas because you get all kinds of things for painting, but search with the term Instructure. So for figuring things out on my own, it's Googling, finding other schools' pages, finding the Instructure pages, things like that. One thing that I do at the beginning of every semester is I help faculty members combine sections. And, you know, if you don't do it all the time, you tend to forget. So I'll go in and type in something like Instructure combined sections. And then on the left here, this is my Google result. And then I've blown it up here on the right. So it shows you there the different choices, and then, you know, tells me, oh, that's how I do it. And then I go from there. So Googling also is very useful. For Nebraska people, there is a statewide consortium, and I have not gotten involved with this because I've just been working with Creighton. But if you follow this link, you can get into the statewide consortium, and the links there on the left of that screen snip kind of show you some different options available. And there is an option for schools to sign up, and then you can, excuse me, Duran Avey, you can contact her for more information directly about it. There is a Canvas 101 course. It's a really quick how to use Canvas. Great to send to people who are new to it or are Blackboard users moving, you know, coming to work for us here at Creighton. It's Mr. Miyagi is the instructor. And so it's from the student perspective, so you get an idea of how things work. And so just follow that link, and it gets you in, and just take it real quick. It kind of walks you through it. At Creighton, we have some local support options. We have a teaching and learning center, the TLC people, and they will assist by phone, email, et cetera, to help design your course. They were a huge resource during the COVID crisis. Their website is listed up above in the top right of the slide if you want to take a look. And a lot of those are available to anybody, not just Creighton people, that you can take a look at. Some of the more private stuff requires a login, but if you just want to take a look at it and see what our TLC can do, your school probably has something like this as well. So, you know, reach out to your local people. Okay, and we do have a course setup guide. And this kind of gives you a best practice. This is a screen snip of a 2-page document. So for somebody that's just getting started, you know, we need a welcome for the bio, introduction, et cetera. So kind of make sure that all the courses have things that are required. And so you don't forget something. You're a new faculty member teaching online. You're new because you're teaching remote for COVID, et cetera. This is a great way to kind of get you going. And then just another part of the checklist here that they do. Things like preparing for success, how do you guide your students? Things that our keynote speaker talked about, those the five topics there, which I did a screen capture of, and I'll refer back to those when I talk to my faculty. What I found really useful is to get a Sandbox. And a Sandbox course is just a course that is only you. You can add people to it, maybe a couple example students, maybe some of your fellow faculty or staff, and just try different things out. It doesn't affect your regular course. You can import things into it. You can mess around. Just a true, in IT, a Sandbox is just a test environment where you can play and it won't affect the production environment. So at Creighton, any faculty member that wants can get a Sandbox course. It does not expire. You can go in and reset the Sandbox and go back to zero if you want. So it's a great way. As a kid, you played in the Sandbox, I'm sure. As a faculty member, you can play in there, try out the new quizzes if you haven't used it yet. Maybe get a couple of your fellow faculty members, enroll them as students in it, and just kind of mess around. So it's, again, just a great way to test out different things without affecting your production, without, dinging your students with notifications and things like that. There are some Canvas apps for iOS and Android, student, teacher, and then parent. I've used the teacher app. I'm more of an Android person. I've had iOS phones in the past. So trying to do things on the phone is a little difficult. Do you want to do a quick announcement or something like that? But again, those apps are available in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. One thing that I've done with my students, and I recommend to faculty, is a get out of jail free card. I'm sure you've all played Monopoly. And if a student says, well, I couldn't complete the assignment because I couldn't get this to work. And I said, well, what did you do? Well, I just couldn't do it, so I gave up. And so what I tell them is file a ticket, do a web chat, call our IT department at Creighton and get a ticket number, do a Canvas ticket. First off, it's kind of like if you see a car accident, you're driving down the road and there's two cars at the intersection that hit each other, and the ambulance and fire truck are not there yet. Call 911. They may get 6 or 12 calls on it, but maybe you're the first one to call. Maybe you're the first student to find out that this isn't working, or a bigger picture, the wireless isn't working in the 4th floor of the Harper building where the students are studying together as a group. Call IT, send them a web chat that we have at Creighton, whatever, get a ticket number. So if they say that I couldn't get this to work, I had 3 students out of 28 one semester that said, we did not see the assignment. We didn't do it. Why did we get a 0 when I graded it? I says, well, you didn't turn it in. They said, well, we didn't see it. And I said, okay, I need you to go to Canvas and put a ticket in, or do a web chat, and let's investigate this, because 25, 28, whatever, everybody but 3 saw it and turned it in. You 3 didn't. This could be an issue. I later found out that they thought they could just kind of get away with it. They just said, well, we did. One of them said, well, I did see it. The other 2 didn't do anything. So I said, get a support ticket and I can give you an extension. IT would rather have a dozen people calling than no people calling that something isn't working. And I'm sure Instructure is the same way. My favorite comment there is a quote from Ronald Reagan when he was discussing treaties with the Russians. I think it was the Strategic Arms Limitation Treaty. He said, trust but verify. Trust your students but verify with the ticket. Okay. Here's the link to this presentation if you want to get to some of those links. I'll leave this one up here, and then I'll go back to the the chat here, and let's see.
So I know one question we had, Terry,
Yes.
was about like student how-to videos. So is your Canvas 101 course, is any part of that on Commons or anywhere where somebody else can access it, or is that specific to or for Creighton?
That is open for anybody. You don't even have to be a Canvas customer to do it.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of these resources, you don't even have to log in to do anything. Just Canvas and Instructures has made them open.
Do you have the link to that course, Terry, that we could put in the chat?
Yeah. Let's see. Where.
Or is it on the slide?
It's on the slide, but I'll see if I
Okay,
can find it here.
That works.
There we go.
Perfect.
Copy link address. And I think I've got to pause share, stop share, and go into chat.